Hi guys, welcome back to Crystalline. Time to see how the crew is gonna continue on their little flying train trip. Hopefully Zach doesn't have another, tantrum. So, let's begin, shall we? The sun shines brightly through the window and splashes on my face, forcing me awake. Leanna and Amelia are both already awake, but Zach still has his head down if he's still asleep. I look outside and squint at the sky. What time is it?
It's already past noon. We slept through the entire morning.
We did? Leanna giggles at my alarm.
Normally that would be a bad thing, but in this case it's okay. We're almost at Bazada.
Oh. I just realized now that means Canada. Ha! That's funny. Anyway. I nod. I wonder if it is Canada. Zach gradually wakes up and we all make sure we have all our things. Creepy. After another hour or two, the train stops and announces our arrival to Bazada. The sun hangs high in the sky as one by one we step off the train. As soon as I set foot in the city, I am assaulted by the sound of voices. Makeshift stalls line the sides of roads and alleys as people pack the streets. Traders entice onlookers to view their wares and customers haggle in heated shouting matches. Are we going to have to travel through that? I blanch at the thought of getting trapped amidst the sea of people, like sardines in a can. That does sound horrible.
We have arrived in Bazada.
There's something about you that's off-putting. I'm not quite sure what. This is where we'll find Embermyst.
No, as I said, it is the closest city to Embermyst.
Considering the bustle of the place, I find it a little hard to believe that the hidden city is so close. No wonder Leanna seems so surprised. And maybe it seems to read my thoughts.
Of course, close is a relative term. We must first traverse some rough terrain and pass through the forest before we find Embermyst.
She points towards the south, where I can make out the tips of treetops, and then she glances up at the sky.
Considering only a few hours remain before nightfall, it may be in our best interest to spend the evening here in the city and depart in the morning.
Leanna nods.
Good thinking. This marketplace is so huge. People say you can literally buy your heart's desires here.
Can it buy me a subscription from you? Oh, plug, subscribe to me. Yeah, if you guys could give a like and a sub, that would be most grateful. As we were continuing, is there something you're thinking of buying?
Nothing in particular, but I would like to check out the stalls. Traders from all over the world gather here to sell their wares.
Hi!
I glanced down at my feet and watched the pango wiggle excitedly, cast a hungry look into the crowd. Is there a lot of magic here? I haven't seen this guy so excited since we first tried to eat me. Amelia bends down and scrutinizes him. She pokes him with a finger, and the pango giggles.
Hi, boy!
I don't want to poke a pango.
I'm going to the inn. I'll meet up with you later.
So antisocial, Zach. Before any of us can react, Zach slips into the crowd. Well, should we go after him? Amelia doesn't even blink at Zach's departure. She's too preoccupied with the pango. Leanna shakes her head.
No, but since Zach left, I'm going to go too. Should we meet back up at the inn?
Sure. She nods and heads into the crowd. Since everyone seems to know what they want to do, what do I want to do? Be a loner, check on Zach, see what Amelia is up to, go shopping with Leanna. Kinda want to check on Zach. But I can't miss a chance to go shopping with Leanna. So let's go shopping. I head in the same direction I think Leanna's gone and duck into the crowd, trying not to bump into too many people as I explore the marketplace. I've never seen a place as crowded before. It doesn't feel like I'm walking so much as being pushed by everyone. You're from New York. That's literally... I suppose it's not as bad as Japan, but not totally. But still. Despite all the people, I'm fascinated by the market stalls. Merchants sell all different types of merchandise, ranging from clay pottery to magic amulets. As I'm being pulled through the crowd, I see a glimpse of blonde hair and white armor. That must be Leanna. I wade through the crowd and see Leanna frozen in place. Hey, Leanna! She blinks at me.
Hey!
Hey, how's the marketplace so far?
Really interesting. There's a lot of cool stuff I haven't seen before.
She seems
Do
distracted.
you smell that?
I breathe in deeply. It smells silent, but deadly. Oh, that is poor humor. We'll go with fruity and sweet. An overwhelmingly sweet smell wafts by on the breeze. There's really no way I can.
I think it's coming from that stall over there. Come on!
She darts back into the crowd, and I quickly follow until we stop at a stall filled with delicate glass bottles. Is this perfume?
Yes, welcome, welcome.
A tanned man in silken robe pushes us close to the stall. He selects a glass bottle filled with a pale pink liquid and offers it to Leanna.
A noble scent to match such a noble woman.
Leanna blushes and delicately sniffs the bottle, her eyes widen in recognition.
Is that extract of spirit orchid?
That sounds pretty. The man grins broadly and clasps his hands together.
Yes, yes, very rare, from the far celestial mountains.
I bet it's not real.
I never expected to find this perfume here.
What is it? Leanna offers me the bottle and I take a tentative whiff. It smells fruity, like a cross between an apple and a pear. Pears don't really have much of a scent. This is a flower? She nods.
The spirit orchid. It only grows in the deep forest of the celestial mountain range.
Why is it called the spirit orchid?
The roots are a very pale white. And when it grows, it almost looks like it's floating midair, like a spirit.
Oh, that's cool. That's kind of neat. She nods absent-mindedly and continues to hold the bottle. Do you want to get it? Leanna quickly shakes her head.
Oh, sorry. It just reminds me of home.
Ah,
My grandmother used to wear this perfume whenever she left the house. When I was little, that meant taking me down to the market.
she smiles fondly at the memory, but her eyes hold a hint of sadness.
I loved wandering the shops and stalls. It didn't matter if I had nothing to buy. It was a chance to leave the house and be like everyone else.
It sounds like you didn't get out too much.
It was complicated.
She doesn't offer up any more information and returns the bottle to a blank spot on the shelf. Although she's been very helpful in helping me understand this world, Leanna doesn't talk about her past much. I glance at her again. She looks pensively at the bottle, a small crease in her brow. Suddenly, a new scent cuts through the floral perfumes. It smells of cinnamon and spice. Cookies? Hey, Leanna, do you smell that? She jolts out of her thoughts and blinks.
Smell what?
I think it's coming from the stall over there. I grin, and just as she did before, I dart back into the streets.
Hey, wait!
We wave through the people before stopping in front of a store filled with an assortment of baked goods. I breathe in the heavenly sweetness of sugar and sigh contentedly. Leanna closes her eyes and inhales.
It smells so delicious!
I wish I had money. I browse the array of cookies and tiny cakes. Leanna gasps.
They have cinnamon parfaits. I love those.
What are those?
They're cinnamon and vanilla custard layers with apricots. What do you think looks good?
I'll try that. Actually, that cinnamon parfait you mentioned sounds really good.
They are. And they're not super sweet either, which is why I like them.
I fish in my pocket for my winnings from yesterday. Today's treats are on me. Leanna looks amused.
Are you sure you want to use your life savings?
Ouch. I chuckle. Don't worry. You've been very generous towards me ever since Meadowhill. This is the least I can do to repay you. I know it's not much, but please consider this as a token of my appreciation. Leanna smiles bashfully.
Thank you.
I grin and pay for the cinnamon parfait for Leanna and a dessert for myself. Cheers. I hold up my dessert and take a bite. As the sweetness melts on my tongue, I let out a contented sigh. This is even better than I imagined. Leanna giggles and let out an equally happy sigh as she bites into her cinnamon parfait.
This is why I love markets.
I'll try the cinnamon parfait. not an agreement as we return to the streets. One of the guards in the marketplace notices Leanna Major's guild emblem and pulls her over to talk.
Sorry, I need to take this.
Since this looks like official business, I better leave it be. We can catch up later then. She smiles.
Okay.
Oh. Well, didn't want to check on Zach. Zach went straight to the inn and Illumia too. What's going on at all these inns? I'd like to know too. I rush into the street and look for any sign of the inn. Luckily, I managed to spot Zach in a crowd before he disappears back into the sea of people. Shoving my way down the street, I finally locate the inn just in time to see Zach. He stands in front of a large notice board filled with pinned papers. As I get closer, I can make out some of the flyers, which include a portrait of a scowling face and a large monetary number. Is Zach checking out wanted posters? He's looking for a specific bounty. I'm about to call out to him when a young blonde wearing a skin-tight suit of armor flounces over to him. Twirling a lock of hair between her finger, she seems to study the board. Oh, every so often she shoots pointed glazes over to Zach, hoping to catch his eyes. But his attention never wavers from the board. Finally, she speaks.
Do you have a bounty on your heart?
Oh, smooth. For the first time since her arrival, Zach looks at her. She grins devilishly.
Because I'm looking to collect.
He refocuses on the board and she frowns. For her second attempt, she bumps up her ample chest and touches her arm, or touches his arm, as she speaks in a sickly sweet voice.
So, are you a bounty hunter?
Zach shrugs her arm off of him.
No.
Is he shy? Is he a shy boy? Shy boy in disguise of angst?
Then you must be a mercenary.
He doesn't answer. She seems to take that as a sign of encouragement, and her sultry smile returns. She leans in close to him and runs her finger up his arm.
I've got a mission that I could use some help with. Are you for hire?
Again, Zach brushes her hands off of him and steps away from her.
No.
She seems a little taken aback, but quickly recovers and slides closer to him.
Are you sure there isn't something I could offer to change your mind?
No.
She sighs before plastering that same smile and lets out a small laugh.
Geez, you're kind of dense.
Don't call him dense, he's just angsty.
I was hoping to spend some intimate time with you. So, what do you say?
No thanks. But if I'm ever in need of your services, then I'll go find you at the brothel.
Ooh, sick burn from Zach! The woman's eyes grow wide like saucers. With a sharp huff, she tries to slap Zach, who sidesteps out of the way. Ah, you missed. She lets out another huff before storming off. No, I am not that kind of guy. I hustle out of her way as she stumbles towards the exit. Whoa! She did not look happy. Well, that was weird. I go stand beside Zach. So, what was that about? He shrugs.
Who cares?
I take a look at the one posted on the board. Most of these faces look like generic weathered and scarred bandits, I imagine. Is this what you take care of in Illumia? Zach fixes his expressionless eyes on me. When we first reached Illumia, the first thing you did was find the inn. And then when we came here, you did the exact same thing. He relaxes slightly and nods.
Just staying up to date on the news.
Sounds like the life of a mercenary is pretty interesting.
Something like that.
Excuse me, are you a mercenary?
As one, Zach and I turn to face another scantily dressed woman. This one has fiery red hair and a mischievous glint in her eyes. Zach narrows his eyes.
Yes?
Are you sure you're not a rogue? Because you've just stolen my heart.
Oh, these terrible. Oh, Zach, please, get rid of her. Zach sighs in facepalm. Oh, I feel you, Zach, I feel you. I have a bad feeling about this. Zach ends up shaking her off and searches for the innkeeper to buy a drink. Oh, I missed a bit there, I am sorry. So, I guess we'll go see what Amelia's up to. I decide to seek out Amelia. I stand by awkwardly while Amelia mutters to herself. I don't know what happened there, so I apologize. She seems to be in the middle of something and doesn't notice my presence.
Male, adolescent, of the cerulean variant.
Huh. She holds out her bracelet. The Pango blinks at it, then looks back at her. Amelia cocks her head to the side as she observes him. With Amelia's attention still on him, the Pango scoots closer to the bracelet and looks at her.
Go on.
He continuously sniffs at the bracelet, then sticks a tongue out to lick the air. Afterwards, he grins widely at Amelia.
Boy? Interesting. Normally, a cerulean pongo will leave out even the slightest trace of magical residue.
Oh, the blue ones are hungry boys. Amelia doesn't have a chance to finish as the Pango springs into her arm.
Boy!
Eep. She fumbles the catch and pulls the Pango close to her chest to stabilize him.
What do you think you're...
Her voice trails off as she looks down at the still smiling Pango.
Boy?
He's adorable. Amelia blinks as the caution melts away from her face. The corners of her mouth curl up into a smile and she squeezes the Pango in a cuddle. Ah.
Boy!
The Pango wheezes as he squishes against her chest. There might be a few grammatical errors. Ah, so cute. Should I join in or should I be watching this? I'll go cute. Ah, you do like him. Amelia gasps and drops her arms, letting the Pango tumble to the ground.
I was merely conducting analysis.
The Pango hops back into her arms and snuggles against her. Amelia's cheeks tinge pink. Ah. She clears her throat.
Regardless, I am going to the apothecary.
That's a place of magical thing, right? Oh, apothecary? Can't we just heal with magic?
Yes, there are mages who specialize in healing magic, but they use earth magic which neither Leanna nor I possess.
Ah, you're not very good then, are you?
As such, you will need to purchase healing items to treat a wound.
I wonder why herbs the healing one. It's usually water. Makes sense to me. Would you like me to go with?
No, it will be faster if I go alone.
Before I even have a chance to react, she turns her on her heel and walks away. As she goes, the Pango pops his face over her shoulder and gazes longingly at me.
Boy.
Pango, come back. A single tear rolls down his cheek. Ha ha, he loves me. Pango! Oh yes. I reach out for him as the distance between us grows. Wait a minute. Why is he making that face? He could literally leave at any time and just come back to me. Hey, get back here! He turns around and disappeared from my view. That sneaky little Pango. I'm ready for a little bit of me time. I wonder what I'm gonna do. I head into the crowds and appreciate all the Marcus Place has to offer. After exploring the city, I meet up with the rest of the group back at the inn. Tensions are high as we eat in silence. I think everyone is a mixture of wariness and anxiety for the next leg of our journey. Even the Pango is strangely silent and obedient. Once we finish eating, we head upstairs to find our rooms. Upon finding her room, Leanna suddenly perks up.
Oh, Amelia, you and I will be sharing a room tonight.
Girl talk. Amelia speaks dismissively.
Naturally, that would be more appropriate than the alternative.
She pauses and looks at Leanna with interest.
Are you insinuating that you would rather share a bedroom with them?
Amelia points to Zach and me.
What? No! Of course not!
Hey, I'm a good boy.
Oh, my mistake. Of course you could not have met both of them. There aren't nearly enough beds. You must have meant him.
Amelia points to me. Leanna's face turned pink and she shakes her head.
Amelia! That's not true!
Does she like me?
If that is false, then why is your face red?
The point is, I'd obviously rather share a room with you.
Ah, she goes that way, okay. Amelia blinks.
If that is the case, then why even bring it up?
Because I'm excited. It'll be nice to have some girl time.
Amelia studies Leanna, then
I
nods.
concur. Sharing a room has proven to strengthen bonds amidst peers and foster camaraderie.
You're too logical.
You mean make friends?
Precisely.
See, Leanna gets it. Leanna grins and Amelia smiles back.
Boy?
We all glance down at the pango by our feet. Is it my imagination, or is he trying to ask us which room is he going to sleep in tonight? Amelia snatches him up in her arms.
Pongo needs to spend the night with us tonight. We need him for science.
But he's my pango. As Amelia slips into the bedroom, Leanna nods rapidly.
Yes, for science.
Then follows Amelia into the room and slams the door shut. Oh, hi, Zach. There's a moment of silence as Zach and I stare at the closed door.
Is it just me, or did that seem unusually suspicious to you?
What? Use me instead? Oh, I get it. Instead of the pango. No. For some reason, I feel like we missed out by not securing the pango. Zach shakes his head.
More like we dodged a blast.
Don't you mean bullet?
Bullet?
I guess idioms don't translate well here. Never mind. Still baffled by what happened, Zach and I enter our room and get ready for bed. Although the train was more comfortable than I expected, it cannot compare to a real bed. As I snuggle into the blankets, I soon drift into a restful slumber. And that's another day past, guys. Gonna know a few of the people, found out Zach's terrible with women, Amelia's got a fascination with a pango, and Leanna's got a gran. And a mystery past. So, Zach and I awaken at dawn and silently go about preparing for the day. These ends all look the same for some reason. As I grab a few items off my bed, I look over at Zach, who is fiddling with his gun. That guy sure gives his discharger a lot of attention. Morning. He glances up and nods. I will make you my friend.
I'm heading down. Meet me there when you're ready.
Sure. Zach shoulders his pack and leaves. This is probably the quietest morning I've had so far. It's a little strange. I pack up the last of my things and follow Zach downstairs, while I find him, oh pardon me, waiting alone. Where are Leanna and Amelia? He shrugs.
Still getting ready, I guess.
Okay. That's unusual. Leanna's generally the first one up. We wait a couple minutes before the girls finally show up carrying the pango with them. Amelia smiles widely at the pango, who grins back. Those two seem to be in a good mood. Leanna, on the other hand, looks exhausted. What were you doing last night? Gang's all here. Let's go. We'll say good morning. Good morning. Leanna smiles.
Morning.
Poi. The pango wobbles in Amelia's arms as she nods her greeting.
We should move on so we don't lose any daylight.
Yes. Zach looks over at Amelia, who rummages through her bag. Eventually, she pulls out a map. I glance at this carefully detailed mountains and rivers. Suddenly, I'm missing my GPS.
We will proceed eastward through the forest adjacent to Bazada.
It's not GPS, it's a sat nav.
From there, we will travel northbound towards the Sonoa Mountains.
Sonoma Mountains, huh? My finger scrolls across the different locations.
Assuming there are no divergences in the course, we should arrive in Embermyst by midday. Any inquiries?
Amelia folds a map and glances at the rest of us. We all look at each other.
And let us begin our journey.
Let us begin. She leads the way out of the inn and through the streets of Bazada. Even this early in the morning, the marketplace is still bustling with people. Carefully traversing the streets and alleys, the crowd begins to thin as we reach the city border. Amelia consults her map, then continues out of the city. Without the high cover of the stalls, I blink at the clear blue sky. In the distance, I can see the dark, leafy cover of trees. That must be where we're going. Once we reach the forest, I'm surprised by how much shade the leaves provide. Branches are strong and the leaves are thick, exposing pockets of sunshine. Amelia keeps the map on hand, and there were no trails. Aside from a few other stragglers exploring the woods, I can hear the scurry of woodland animals. Gotta admit, the backgrounds of this thing, pretty. So much cover and so few people. This would be the perfect opportunity for a bandit ambush. I look towards Zach and Liana, who both seem unconcerned. I suppose it wouldn't make sense for the bandits to hide out in the forest, which is mostly devoid of people. We aren't carrying cargo either, so there's even less of a reason to attack us. The deeper we... excuse me. There we go. The deeper we travel into the woods, the thicker the canopy of leaves become, nearly blocking out the sunlight. Oh, it's gone quiet. All the other people have long gone, and even the rustle of bushes have become quiet. Pango's scared. I will hold you. Oh, okay, she'll hold you. The Pango nestles even deeper into Amelia's arms. Liana shivers and wraps her arms around herself in a hug. Check on her. You okay? She seems startled and drops her arms, trying to act normal.
I'm fine.
Do we push or not? I get the feeling she's quite a proud person, so... Oh, fine. We'll be respectful of her and not push the matter. Alright, just checking. She smiles. The forest continues to block out even more light. Soon it becomes so dark we can barely see what's in front of us. Oh, the screen's getting dark. Ah.
Are you sure we're going the right way?
Amelia pulls a torch out of her bag in response. She touches her fingers to the tip of the torch and her bracelet glows. Then the torch erupts into flames. Neat. Oh.
Indeed. There is no
spooky.
need for alarm. The darkness merely indicates we're about to enter the Forest of Sorrows.
Oh. That's sad.
Forest of Sorrows?
I'm surprised by Liana's outburst. Her face is deathly pale.
Do we have to go through here? There must be an alternate route.
Fear not, I'll hold your hand. Amelia shakes her head.
Embermyst can only be accessed through these woods.
Liana groans.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
What's up with the Forest of Sorrows? I mean, it sounds spooky enough, but is it really that bad?
It is rumored that those who venture into the Forest of Sorrows never come out.
Oh, it's spooky. They never come out? She nods.
The reason people are unable to escape is because they hear the voices of the loved ones they have lost. They fruitlessly search for their loved ones, losing their way, chasing the wailing of the spectrals.
Well, that's kind of morbid.
No! Amelia, stop! We can travel through this stupid place if we have to, but no more of this story stuff that isn't true and can't be true, so it's not true.
I'm gonna take a guess and say her grand may have passed. Although Liana tries to put on a brave front, her voice grows shriller the longer she talks. Right. Amelia nods.
Then let us continue.
I turn to Zach. Do you think all that stuff about the Forest of Sorrows is possible?
It doesn't matter if I think it's possible, because it's the truth.
What?
Zach! Stop!
As Liana turns away, Zach cracks a fleeting smile before resuming his stony stare. Oh, you're evil. That's chaotic neutral, people. Chaotic neutral at its finest. The trees have now lost that cozy feel completely and look thick, old, and withered. The eerie silence is deafening, and each crunch of leaves beneath our feet reminds me of the inevitability of death and decay. I keep seeing flashes of beady eyes peering amid the branches. The squawk of crows pierce the silence, making me jump. Instinctively, I pick up the pace, as does everyone else. Liana grows increasingly agitated.
Are you sure we're going the right way? I swear that I've seen that.
A cold gust of wind extinguishes the torch. I'm the chosen one! Hey, wait. This is a good moment for a Prince grade. Ignore this moment, people. Ignore it, okay? Anyway, back to it. Leanna latches onto my arm and pulls it close to her chest. Her eyes are squeezed shut and she buries her face against me. The light returns as Amelia relights the torch. Leanna peeps an eye open and glances down at my arm. And where it rests on her chest. Indirect boob touch! Hell yeah! Her cheeks burn as hot as the torch as she quickly drops my arm.
Sorry,
She trails off as her blush deepens. I bet her nerves from the forest and the awkwardness of grabbing me is making her flustered. She might be more comfortable holding on to me, but that's an equally awkward suggestion. I'm gonna brave it, guys. I'm gonna pull her in close. I close the distance between us and link arms with her again. Although surprised, she doesn't stop me. Instead, she blushes again. Amelia watches us and cocks her head to the side.
Are you afraid?
Huh?
You're mimicking Leanna's instinctive reach for your arm. Does that mean you too are feeling afraid?
It's okay, no one's feel uneasy at time. It's possible to be a robot in this time. I mean, if I was there, I'd be absolutely petrified. There's nothing wrong with that, especially in a place like this. Amelia nods.
Your rationale is valid.
Yeah. Leanna squeezes my arm a little tighter and smiles. Hey, look at that. I'm
thanks.
I'm winning the paladin. I nod with a warm smile. Anytime. Zack waits impatiently a few paces ahead of us.
Can we move on?
Shush.
Affirmative.
We all hurry to catch up with Zack and continue through the forest. No wonder people get lost. This place feels like it's endless. Leanna tightens her grip on my arm whenever there's a noise. A crow flies by and she hides her face in my shoulder. I can feel the warmth rush to my cheeks. I'm grateful for the darkness. This is so out of character for Leanna. I never would have guessed she'd get spooked by ghosts. Gradually, the darkness fades away as the trees are illuminated by an ethereal glow. As the blue and green light chases away the shadows, my mood begins to lift. The trees still look ancient, but full of wisdom and secrets instead of bad omens. Okay, now we're turning back to pretty again. Pango squirms wildly in Amelia's arm. He wriggles free and hops around in glee. As he hops, he opens his mouth wide, but loses his balance and blinks as he falls on his head. After a few more confused seconds, he shakes himself and tries again. There must be a lot of magic in here.
We have made it through the Forest of Sorrows.
Hell yeah, we're good. Leanna sighs in relief.
Finally.
She blushes as she lets go of me.
So Embermyst is close.
A natural concentration of crystal energy would indicate we are on the correct path.
Ah, the crystals must be what the blue and green glow is from.
What do you mean, on the correct path? Haven't you traveled here before?
Amelia shakes her head.
No, this is my first journey.
You mean you had us travel through the Forest of Sorrows without knowing for sure that it would lead us to Embermyst?
That is correct.
Ooh, Amelia, you're gonna be in someone's bad books. Leanna gapes at Amelia.
Well, we did make it through. And if we do reach Embermyst, then she would have delivered on her promise.
Zack nods at Amelia, who looks curious at him. While deep in thought, it looks like she's reworking a previous analysis of him, and she nods back. Leanna opens her mouth to argue, but stops.
I suppose it doesn't matter now that we're almost there.
On that conclusion, let us continue.
Yeah, but you gotta go back through it to get out. We trail behind Amelia, the Pango blissfully hopping along, as she navigates us through the rest of the forest. Embermyst lies just beyond the edge of the forest, As soon as we approached the heavy gates of the city, well, was it Embermyst? Two tanned men with leather armor and carved wooden staffs inlaid with rough crystals stand guard. The staves are crossed, and the light seems to shimmer as it catches the negative space between the staves. Staves? It's staves. Is this some kind of magic?
Please state your business.
As students from the Mage Academy, we seek an audience with Elder Isem.
They look us over, and I shift uncomfortably under their gaze. Their blank eyes seem to burrow deep into my soul. They close their eyes, and the red crystals inlaid in their staves glow. The translucent glimmers increase. After a few minutes, they reopen their eyes and remain silent. I glance at Liana, who looks back at me. I whisper, are they gonna let us in? She shakes her head uncertainly. Zack crosses his arms, but otherwise doesn't seem to be bothered by the situation. Amelia stands confidently and waits patiently. I guess things are going according to our plan. Just when I can no longer bear the silence, a figure steps out from behind the gates. He's an old, squirrely man with a set of glasses which slips down his hooked nose. He wears a faded and wrinkled open robe.
Elder Isem.
Yes? Who is it?
He has a majestic beard.
I am Amelia Estelle from the Mage Academy, and these are my associates.
The Mage Academy, you say?
He adjusts the glasses on his nose and peers at Amelia.
Yes. Yes.
One by one, he peers at the rest of us. He barely glances at Zack, but looks at Liana with interest when he recognizes her guild emblem. Finally, his gaze lingers on me, almost as if he's trying to place me, but can't.
Well, come on in then. No point in standing around.
The guards break away as he beckons us in, and the translucent shimmers disappear. After we pass through the gates, I look back right before the gates close and see the guards resume their original position. Elder Isem shuffles along the dirt path and leads us through the quaint village. The villagers tend to wear plain, loose-fitting tunics. Aside from the guards, most people don't carry weapons, although many of them do wear simple bracelets embedded with crystals. We soon arrive at a strangely architectural stable clay hut. As we enter, I covertly touch the walls. Ooh. I like it. Homely. It reminds me of an unglazed ceramic tiles. Oh, we're living in a clay pot. That sounds really hot in summer. We settle down on wide cushions on the floor.
How were you able to find this place?
Through you.
Eh?
Amelia pulls out a worn tomb. Where has she been keeping that this whole time? Anime logic. It's like Deadpool, he has a backpack full of goodies. It's magic.
My old research. I thought I'd lost this.
As Elder Isem carefully turns the pages of the tomb, Liana clears her throat.
We were told you can help us.
By whom?
Professor Xavier.
Xavier. Elder Isem lets out a loud laugh.
Xavier is a professor now. Good for him. I've been out of touch with Haven God and Lumia for many years. I'm not sure how I can help.
Liana fills him in on all that's happened so far, beginning with the spiked energy readings and ending with Professor Xavier's advice. She keeps the story simple and straight to the point, carefully eliminating the fact that I'm not from this world. Elder Isem listens thoughtfully, but grows more excited the longer Liana talks.
The temporal rifts. It's been so long since I really researched them. I'm afraid I've been rather distracted. Still, someone is here hoping to discuss these theories, and I'm more than happy to talk about them.
He claps his hand excitedly.
Where should we start?
As I'm about to answer, a deep rumble beneath the earth stops me. What was that?
Oh, just the volcano.
What?
Nothing to worry about.
Uh-huh. Last time someone said nothing to worry about in regards to the volcano, their entire city was buried in ash. Liana's eyes are wide and aghast. It's not all bad. It was basically all intact when the city was rediscovered thousands of years later. She doesn't look any less uneasy.
There's no need to look so concerned. The volcano will not erupt. This is the first sign of activity it has shown in thousands of years.
Pompeii! Isn't that concerning?
Perhaps if it were any other volcano, but this particular volcano is in the domain of the fire elemental who protects us all.
This fire elemental of which you speak, are you referencing the ancients?
Precisely.
Zach crosses his arms.
The ancients are only a story.
You believe in ghost forests, but you don't believe in ancients? Seriously? Who are the ancients? Because I'm that guy who asks the obvious, what's this and who's that?
They are the elements of Asaria. The magic which we have learned to manipulate are the gifts left behind from the ancients.
Oh.
That's how the legend goes.
You are mistaken. They are not a legend.
Liana looks uncertain while Zach scowls.
You still believe in those stories?
I believe in the research, and Elder Ism has accumulated plenty of it.
Then where have the elementals been all this time?
It's like in Dragon Ball with Beerus. He's very important to the world, but, well, galaxies. So he sleeps. So they're asleep. He's sleeping until the legendary super mage appears. I don't know. We all return our focus to the Elder.
I suppose I do have a few theories on that as well. But the elements are a lot trickier than temporal rifts. The story of the ancients is so old it predates our understanding of crystals and spheres. That's why most societies have forgotten about them and brushed them off as a legend. The people in this village, though, have not forgotten. When I arrived, I was purely focused on finding the fire temple for research purposes. But the longer I stayed, the more my focus strayed from the temporal rifts to the ancients themselves. If you believe that the cause of those random energy spikes are the result of temporal rifts, perhaps that is the link to the return of the elementals to Asaria.
So, what does that mean exactly? He shakes his head.
It's hard to say. We don't know why they left in the first place. My guess is that something was keeping them occupied in the spirit world. Perhaps whatever that is was set free by the rifts.
Amelia hangs onto Elder Ism's every word. Liana absently-mindedly fills with her manipulator, deep in thought. Only Zach seems skeptical of this conversation. It sounds really complicated. I'm not saying that can be solved in a few hours. We need to get back on track. How do I get home? To get back to the original topic on hand, Elder Ism nods.
The temporal rifts, yes.
How would one go about creating a rift?
Well, that will be difficult. You'll need an incredible amount of energy, more than any one human can create. The only places with that much concentration of energy is in the temples of the elementals.
You said that there was one in the village.
Yes, the fire temple is here in Embermyst.
Great. My body grows warm as hope floods through my veins. This is good. I finally have a way
To
home.
be more precise, it's on the outskirts of the village, built on the side of the volcano, but it's not a far walk.
My hopes
Then
have been
that's
dashed.
where we need to go.
Liana pushes herself to her feet and then rests, and the rest of us do the same. As Elder Ism rises, his face falls.
Leaving so soon? I was hoping we'd have a longer chance to chat. I have so many questions about Illumia and the Academy. As you can imagine, one does not get a lot of news of the outside world here.
Perhaps upon our return.
Yes, of course. Well, you best be on your way then.
Elder Ism, it was truly an honor to meet you.
Amelia's cheek flush as Elder Ism grins. She must really respect him. In that moment, I realized just how small and dainty she looks. I sometimes forget how young she is compared to the rest of us. We all say our goodbyes and then exit the hut. Once outside, we scan the horizon, trying to orient ourselves towards the volcano. I mean, how do you miss a volcano?
Excuse me.
Oh, another named character. Oh. A ninja. Dato Bayo. I whirl around and come face to face with a woman wearing just enough fabric to cover her essentials and nothing more. Well then, her long brown hair is tied up in a ponytail, which falls down her neck and frames her very ample chest. The plot thickens. Don't look at her. You know what? I'll go with the plot thickens. She embodies what? Just like every scantily clad video character. My eyes are drawn to her says, and yes, this feels very familiar.
Distracted by something?
I snap out of my trance and notice her grinning. Her hands on her hips. Huh? What? I feel the heat of someone's gaze. I glance over and see Leanna frowning deeply, which our gaze is meet. She quickly looks away. Sorry, Leanna.
Who are you?
I didn't know I'd look at the boobs. Zach steps in front of me, who frowns and steps away. I guess he's taking his bodyguarding business really seriously all of a sudden. Leanna holds herself stiffly, ready to move if necessary. The woman salutes.
Car Noir, treasure hunter extraordinaire.
Ah, I see. Zach narrows his eyes.
What do you want with us?
Well, I couldn't help but overhear that you're interested in the fire temple.
How did you hear us when we were inside?
She taps her nose knowingly.
I have very sensitive hearing.
She's a rogue.
I fail to understand how our interests are of relevance to you.
I was just, you see, I've come to offer
Oops.
an extension of friendship.
Okay, this controller is a bit glitchy, so I'm gonna have to not use that. There goes the mouse, because I'm skipping things by accident, which is rude, and I don't like it. Both Leanna and Zach raise an eyebrow.
Or at least an extension of mutual benefit.
Okay.
It's true that the villagers maintain the fire temple, but from what I've discovered, they are unaware of the temple's secret passage.
Ooh,
If you're
fancy.
interested in the energy of the temple, I can guarantee that's where you'll find it.
If the villagers don't know about the secret passage, how did you find it?
It's all a part of the treasure hunting gig. You have to be looking for it to find it.
Kara winks and gives us a thumbs up.
The best part is that I've already disarmed or made a note of most of the traps in there.
She really is a rogue. There are traps in this temple?
The temples are a sanctuary for the elementals, but any place that is easily accessible is sure to attract all types. There are measures set in place to protect the spirit from those who wish to harm it.
Like I said, I've disarmed most of the traps, but not all. There is one magical barrier at the end of the tunnel which I've not yet been able to pass. I don't have magic, but you do.
She gestures to Leanna and Amelia.
If you can magic that barrier away, then that's at least one step closer to finding your energy.
Zach crosses his arms and glares at Kara.
How does that benefit you?
She grins.
All I'm interested in are the artifacts and relics. From the sounds of it, you guys are more interested in something else, hence mutually beneficial. So, what do you think?
I look at the rest of my group wordlessly. We huddle closely together and whisper. You see, I think I might have set myself up for a fall if I clicked that one now. I could click that one, and then both of these two will most likely like it. I'll go with that one, just because it seems like the neutral response. Who cares if she joins or not? She's not interested in the elemental energy. If she goes with us, she'll just go after we've broken the barrier.
You do have a point.
I must concede that I am impressed by her resourcefulness. It is plainly evident that she is not a native to Embermyst, which means she somehow discerned the location on her own.
That's a really good point, actually. Leanna looks thoughtful.
As a treasure hunter, her tracking skills could come in handy in the future.
We all stare at Zach. He shrugs.
Do what you want.
That sounds like a yes to me. Zach doesn't respond. He just fixes his steady gaze on me. Oh, steely gaze.
So does this mean we're agreed to join up with Kara?
We all nod. And a point. Pango sits in the middle of our circle and blinks happily. Where do you even go when you're in hiding?
Let's go tell Kara.
We turn around and Kara stands right behind Leanna. Her face only inches away. Leanna lets out a startled gasp. Jeez, what is she? Some kind of ninja? Ah, you're a funk. Kara rubs her hands excitedly.
All right, this will be fun.
Wait, we didn't give you our answer yet.
Oh, sorry.
She steps back and gestures for Leanna to continue. Leanna speaks awkwardly. I guess she feels a little silly saying that Carousel already knows.
Well, we decided to take you up on your offer.
Oh, you're Dawn and you're Noir. It's like black and white. Okay. Kara nods.
Excellent. Since we're going to be working together, first things first. You all know my name, but I don't know yours.
The name is Bond. James Bond.
I'm Leanna.
Mage Knight from the Guild?
She nods.
I am Amelia Estelle, a mage caster from the Mage Academy.
I'm curious what your last name means. Just Kara believes.
A student to become a mage caster? But you look just like a teenager.
I know, she's that good. Amelia cocks her head to the side.
It is natural that my physical appearance would represent my age.
She looks at Amelia with respect.
That is pretty impressive. Who's next?
She looks at Zach.
Zach.
Are you a spade? Maybe it's like cards, I don't know. She chuckles.
Very clearly a mercenary.
And I'm Pixel. Her green eyes study me, and although she's very clearly examining me, I don't feel uncomfortable under her stare.
Now that that's out of the way.
Boy.
You forgot Pango. Kara steps back and moves the Pango by my
You
feet.
have a bongo! How cute!
I know, he's a good little thing. She reaches down and pats him on the head. He beams at her touch.
And what's your name?
Boy.
She glances at the rest of us, but none of us make a move to
Oh,
answer.
is he not a part of your group?
He is. Sort of.
And you haven't named him yet?
Leanna and I shuffle uncomfortable. Zach remains unchanged while Amelia frowns.
A pongo is a wild creature.
Kara straightens and pats Amelia on the head, much to her dismay.
If you say so. Okay, are we ready to get going?
We murmur our assent, and then Kara leads us out of the city. As we walk, another ominous rumble sends butterflies to my stomach. I can't shake off the feeling that we are literally walking into a fire. I glance at the others, who seem unfazed. I guess it's just me. Pushing my insecurities down, I silently follow the group towards the temple. Just as Elder Isam noted, the temple is a short walk out of the village on a well-worn dirt path. The road is mostly empty, with only one or two travelers coming back towards the village. The temple is an open structure with a roaring fire in the middle of a grand hall. Oh, that is grand. High columns with flames carved into them holding up the building. Adorning the stone walls are a beautiful tile mosaic. Oh. There's one wall with some strange symbols scratched on them. They're very faded and I have to squint to make it out. From what I can make out, 4 symbols surround a darkness in a square with a line of fire enclosing the perimeter, trapping the darkness in the center. I wonder what that is. Amelia glances over and then peers at the carving.
Those symbols represent each of the magical elements.
Oh, she points to each one.
There is fire, water, earth, and wind.
And then she points to the center.
And that is shadow.
I've never considered shadow an element before.
It is one of the elemental magics.
Kara, Zach, and Leanna have already moved on, so the rest of us hustle to catch up. Besides us, the only other people in this temple are the monks who care for us. They're dressed in woven red robes in the same open and loose style as the villagers from Embermyst. Quietly, they shuffle back and forth, sweeping the floor or relighting any of the small fires which have burned low.
Boy.
I know, right? Pango looks around in wonder and reverence. At the side of the giant flame, he squeaks and hops up on me, claiming a spot on my shoulder. Kara bows briefly before the large flame, then leads us to the back of the chamber, and steps in front of an empty wall.
We're here!
You've brought us to a wall. Zach sighs. Secret passage? Kara might be a little out there, but I don't get the impression that she's stupid. There must be more to this wall than first meets the eye. Is there a mechanism hidden somewhere which triggers a doorway? Kara's eyes glitter.
Bingo!
The gaze fixed on us, Kara pushes on a brick and a segment of the wall pushes in and swings open. She waves at the opening with a flourish.
Ta-da!
So magical. How did you know which brick to push in?
It usually depends, but in this case, there's one brick that sticks out slightly more than the others. If you weren't looking for it, you won't see it.
She heads through the opening and pushes the wall closed behind us. Then she leads down a winding stone stairway, which ends at the beginning of a narrow passageway. We file in behind her, and she carefully picks her way down the hall. It's a very plain stone hallway with wall scones lighting the way. I look down at my feet and notice the brick with an X marked on it. And she says she's disabled trapped, so I'm gonna avoid it. I have a feeling this X didn't make its way onto the stone by itself. I better not touch it. Gingerly, I step around the brick. A few feet away, I spot another X. Is anyone else seeing these random X's? Kara glances back.
I should hope so. I left those there so as not to set off the same traps again.
Makes sense. We resume walking. The deeper we travel, the more X's I notice. Wow, there are a lot of traps in here. Zach pauses in front of a corridor where the walls are covered in X.
Why are there so many X's on this wall?
Kara looks down the same passageway.
Oh, it's a two-part trap.
She points to a stone on the ground with the same X marking.
Basically, if you step on the ground stone, it triggers thick bars to shoot out from all the X's in the wall and block the path.
That doesn't sound too bad.
Only if you know how to limbo. The bars have something keeping them hot and will burn you if you touch it.
Ouch. Okay, that sounds worse.
And you were able to cross that?
Kara winks.
I am very limber.
I bet you are. I expected Zach to brush off her comment like he brushed off Erugo, but he actually looks impressed. Amelia looks between Zach and Kara.
Based on the dilation of Zach's pupils, it appears that Kara's flexibility is attractive to him.
Amelia. Zach is taken aback.
I was just thinking that it's a useful skill set to have.
Kara has a mischievous glint in her eyes.
Useful skill set to have. In what context?
Zach frowns.
For scouting and navigating. You've done a thorough job mapping this place out and marking the traps.
Leanna looks amused.
Zach, was that a compliment?
He glares at Leanna.
No, an observation.
Kara smiles playfully.
Then thank you for the observation.
Zach falls into silence before turning away. I think that's the most I've ever heard him talk in like a 30-second span. We continue through the tunnels. Eventually she stops in front of another well of fire in the middle of the hall.
The barrier's here.
She gestures at the swirling metallic wall behind the well. The way that glitters as it wisps and curls almost looks like fire. Leanna and Amelia step closer and inch their hands in front of them before gingerly touching the barrier.
It's surprisingly solid for something that looks so gaseous. Maybe there's some wind magic interwoven with whatever other magic is here.
The Pango hops forward with stars in his eyes.
Hi.
He dashes straight for the barrier.
Pongo, wait!
I stretch out my arm and race after him. Pango! No! Instead of running into the wall, the Pango passes straight through and out of sight. Why, Crow? Pango! I land heavily against the barrier. Did he make it to the other side? Or was he burned alive by the weird, magic, twisty, flame-like thing? My legs grow weak at the ford as I slide down the barrier. No! I bang on the obstruction. Give him back! Give back my Pango!
Hi.
A blue head pops out of the barrier. What? He pops the rest of the way out.
Boy.
Then he leaps into my arms. I thought I'd never see you again. What was it like on the other side?
Boy.
He bounces up and down in my arms. Amelia places both her hands back on the barrier while Leanna holds out her manipulator.
Whatever is beyond this wall hosts a plethora of energy.
Leanna nods.
My manipulator confirms that. No wonder the Pongo ran in there.
Zach continues to hang back and observe. Kara steps closer to the barrier.
But how did he even pass through?
Leanna shrugs. Amelia continues studying the wall, moving her hands up and down.
I do not recognize this magic.
She frowns deeply to stare.
Is there anything you can do to break it?
Let's see.
Leanna and Amelia both put their hands on the barrier. Their manipulators glowing. I cannot let it. These transmit pulses of magic which disperses across the surface in a shimmering wave. I think they're trying to create stress fractures to crack the wall. After a few tries, Leanna sighs in frustration, then steps back.
Amelia, stand back.
She wordlessly obeys. Pango's energy at her corners, then strikes the barrier with a power strike. Suddenly, golden lettering forms on the barrier. Absolve your world to enter mine. What does that mean? No one answers. Amelia steps forward and focuses on the well flickering flame.
If I am interpreting this message correctly, we must part with our most precious possession, our world, and throw it in the fire.
Leanna nods thoughtfully.
Kind of like we're freeing ourselves.
Kara's face drains of color and she clutches at her pack.
Are you sure?
Yes.
We stand around awkwardly until Leanna clears her throat.
If that's what we need to do, then it seems easy enough. I'll go first.
Please, let me. You're doing this for me. I should be the one to go first. Yes. Leanna blinks, but I step up to the fire before she can object. What do I choose? The Pango, obviously. My waifu. I think I'll go with one. I fish in my pocket, grab my wallet. My entire identity is in there. My license, student ID, and credit cards. Or part of it makes my chest hurt. My kokoro. Reluctantly, I toss it in the fire and watch the flames lap it up. Then I steal my resolve and slowly step forward. As I cross through, I feel the tingle of energy and hear the crackle of electricity. There's a bright light blinding my vision. I have a flashback of my crossing to Terra. My foot lands on solid ground. I pass through the barrier unharmed. Hey. Gradually, my eyes adjust to the dim light, and I see that I'm in a cozy room. Ooh. La la. Hello there. In the middle of the room is a fox who swishes its tail and observes me. Beside it is a beautiful woman with flaming red hair. A delicate hand rests atop the fox's head. As I look her over, her gaze lands on me. Who are you? I'm just smiling. The woman blinks at me and smiles. For a second, I think the flames light the room flicker. I think I see the flames light the room flicker. Warm permeates my body. It's pleasant, like an embrace. Although she holds my gaze, she doesn't speak. How did you get in here? Again, she remains silent, but this time she takes a step closer.
Who are you talking to?
Huh? I peek behind the woman and see Zack standing with an eyebrow raised and his arms crossed. The rest of my companions pause in their inspection of the room and stare at me. Kara stands beside and holds her while Amelia and Liana are both kneeling by the fox. The fox accepts their attention, rhythmically swishing its tail. It otherwise makes no move to respond. Instead, it fixes its attention on me.
Are you talking to the fox?
No. Super hot chick. Are you seriously not seeing this random woman standing between us? Group look at each other.
Are you sure it was safe to pass through that barrier?
Zack glances at me. She shrugs.
That's reassuring.
Who exactly are you seeing?
There's a woman dressed in red, and she's kind of flamey, and she's standing right there with her pet firefox. Liana looks towards the fox, but her eyes gaze right over the woman. She furrows her brows, concerned.
Okay.
She don't believe me. She's supposed to be on my side. Her voice is gentle, like she doesn't want to spook me. None of you guys can see her. The group collectively shake their heads. I don't know why you guys can't see her, but I promise you, she's there.
Boy!
Pango hops out from behind my legs. He first examines the woman with partial interest, then he stares in wonder at the fox. The fox cocks its head to the side, observes Pango. Pango perks up and cautiously bounces forward. He pauses right before the fox. The fox's nose wiggles as it sniffs at the Pango and swishes its tail. The Pango squeaks before running back behind my legs.
Boy!
Oh no, the Pango's scared. Wait, do you see her too?
Boy!
Because I can understand Pango. The woman giggles at the Pango and gently pats his head. He shivers happily at her touch. She straightens up and takes a step closer. Her feet don't touch the ground, and her skirt floats ethereally behind her, nudging me. Instinctively, I back away.
What's going on?
She's getting closer. A lot closer. She pauses when she draws near and touches her palms to my forehead. A pulse of warmth flows through me before she retracts her hand. As if something inside me clicked open, I feel invigorated with restored strength. The stronger I feel, the more translucent the moon becomes. Soon she disappears. Hey, did that change? The Panko stared at me with renewed interest. It reminds me of that same look he gave me when we first meet. He licks his lips. Don't even think about it.
Boy.
The Panko pouts and lets out a sad sigh. Kara waves her hand and puts my face.
Hey! Are you okay? You kind of zoned out there for a second.
I think I'm fine.
What happened?
I think. I'm not too sure.
Where's the woman now?
Actually, she's gone. Amelia reacts to my words by playing with her bracelet. She holds her manipulated object.
Curious. I may have a theory.
What is it?
All the energy which had accumulated here has now gathered within you.
I blink as it takes me a minute to register what she just said. Wait, I absorbed the energy? That can't be.
As I mentioned, it is merely a theory.
A walking bomb? Leanna looks intrigued.
How is that possible?
I don't know. I felt it after she touched me. Leanna's eyes widened.
I wouldn't phrase it like that.
Not in a weird way. She touched my forehead and suddenly I felt a rush of energy. Amelia stares hard at me. Why are you looking at me like that?
I am merely anticipating the imminent reaction.
Reaction to what?
The high concentration of energy you just absorbed. The human body was not meant to process such large quantities of energy. At least, that has certainly been the trend with someone from Terra.
Amelia's gaze bores into me as she emphasizes the word terror. Then she looks back down at her manipulator.
Although, 2 minutes have passed, and there seems to be no sign of an adverse reaction.
Why does she sound so disappointed? Suddenly, Kara squeals as she gingerly picks up a rusty coin out of the remains of a leather satchel.
This is a genuine Vestin coin!
Zach glances at the coin and folds his arm, clearly unimpressed.
How much could a rusted out, dated coin be worth?
About a few hundred gold pieces.
Zach's demeanor instantly changes. Oh, I see.
You don't
The gold-
say.
Kara smoothly pockets the satchel as Zach covertly searches the room. As Kara finishes up her inspection of the room, Leanna looks around.
Well, since we found what we came for, we should head back.
Kara nods and leads the way out. As we leave the room, we notice the fire which had previously glowed in front of the barrier is now gone, but all our items are still intact. Hey, nothing was burned here.
Curious. Then it can be assumed that the purpose of this trial was not to destroy our possessions, but to test our willingness to sacrifice.
Kara happily scoops out her coin purse.
I'm not complaining.
Of course not. Leanna smiles in relief as she reaches in and quickly collects what looks like a ring attached to a thin chain. I wonder what that is. A ring attached to a thin chain.
Let's keep going.
Is it the one ring? Dun dun dun. The rest of us snatch up our items and continue to back out of the corridor. The trek out of the temple is a lot faster and easier than the trek in, mostly because there were no more obstacles to stop us. We pop out of some hidden wall in which we entered, just as before. The main ceremonial hall is empty. We wave goodbye to the couple of monks sweeping the entryway and begin to walk back to the village. Let's ask about that coin. We fall in step with Kara. So, who exactly were the Vestals?
They were the original tribe of Embermyst, and the initial keepers of the Fire Temple.
Did they build the temple? Kara shrugs.
It depends on who you ask. Some experts believe they did. Others think the temple was already there by the time the Vestins came about.
Interesting. Now I'm curious. How did you get into treasure hunting? She pauses just a little too long before fleshing me her usual joke.
I just sort of fell into it, honestly. Treasure hunting naturally fit into my nomadic lifestyle.
district to even identify relics.
You'd be surprised how much you pick up along the way, especially after you realize what a lucrative business this can be.
So you're just in it for the money?
I didn't say that. I'll admit that at first I was just in it for the money. But the more I learned about the ancient people of Asaria, the more invested I became in the history of each relic I found.
Oh, I see. You like Lovecraft.
I started to find myself daydreaming about who might have used the items I found. What kind of person were they? Did they cherish this item, or was it just another piece of their ever-growing collection of stuff?
That's a cool way of thinking. You know what, we'll go with that one. That's actually kind of nice. I had no idea Kara had this site down. That's surprisingly deep. Kara raises an eyebrow.
I'm full of layers.
Like an onion? I look up and down and take in her barely there attire. Not from what I can see. She smirks.
Metaphorically speaking.
Right. Yeah, that's as know-it-all. Except my opportunity. So, that theory that you mentioned in the temple about the one, what was it? Amelia glances.
Given the location and circumstances previously described by Elderism, my estimation is that the unknown woman you encountered was a projected image of the fire elemental. Of course, as I could not observe her myself, I cannot be certain.
Do you think that's why she wouldn't talk back? Also, why wouldn't she just show up and ask?
The amount of energy needed to sustain just an appearance of the elemental would have drained the temple completely. There would have been no energy left for her to give to you.
Is that why she disappeared right after?
The depletion of energy in the temple would have meant she'd no longer be sustained in this world.
Amelia looks old.
Although, it is quite unusual that she would have you absorb the energy to begin with.
I see. No wonder she was so hot. She actually exists? That'd be a bit offensive. I had a sneaking suspicion also. I mean, who else could it have been? Amelia nods.
It pleases me that you too have reached the same conclusion.
See, we're on the same wavelength now. I also smart. I know book. Thanks. She looks thoughtful.
Still, it is quite perplexing that she would only reveal herself to you.
It's not just me. Pango saw her too, I think. You didn't really make it clear if you're seeing her or just the fox thing.
The Guardian.
Huh?
The fox would be the guardian of the fire temple. Each temple has its own guardian who protects it.
So how come the Guardian didn't attack us for breaking into the temple?
We did not break in. The Guardian enforces the trial in the temple. Only those who are able to complete the trials are welcome into the temple.
In this case, that magical fire we had to put our stuff in? Amelia nods. You're still trying to figure out why no one else can see the elemental. She nods again. Any theories?
As of now, I do not have one. But perhaps after some further research.
Her voice trails off as she moves back into deep thought. Karazak and Amelia lead the way back to Embermyst while I lag behind. Pango sits on my head. Liana notices my absence and falls into step with me. She pets the Pango, who ignores her, still too focused on the energy around me. Liana pouts and shakes away the Pango's disregardance of her and focuses her attention on me.
Something on your mind?
I drop my voice low so the others can't hear me. Now that I've collected the energy from the temple, that means that I can try to create a temporal rift and go back home, right? Kara stops, then whirls around to face us. Zack and Amita stop with her.
Pardon me, you were speaking very softly and it was a little hard to hear, but it sounded like you just said you need to open a temporal rift to go back home?
I am going to slap you. You sneaky, sneaky person.
But that can't be right, can it?
Geez, that woman has got some supersonic hearing. I glance at Liana, who looks alarmed. About that. Kara smiles, falters at my hesitance, but Amelia looks excited.
I knew it! My hypothesis is correct!
Look at her all puffed up and proud.
Hypothesis? What hypothesis?
My hypothesis that he is from a parallel world.
Leanna's eyes grow wide and she forces a panic smile.
I think all this parallel world and temporal rift talk has been getting to you. I mean, Elder Isum said it's impossible.
He has already admitted it.
What? Leanna and I have been careful not to say anything. When?
The day of our acquaintance.
I racked my brain but don't remember bringing the valve around me.
You sought out Professor Xavier's guidance, and after he imparted his advice, you and Leanna had a brief discussion in which you mentioned that what he had suggested was exactly what happened to you. Thus began my hypothesis that you arrived from a parallel world.
Leanna looks at me, unsure how to react. Deny. Now either. I guess there's no point in denying it now. The game of cheat isn't of any indication of me to see right through a lie. Fine, you're right. I'm not from Terra.
Not from Terra, huh?
Zach looks me up and down and off to
That's a lot better than the alternative.
What's the alternative?
That you might be unique.
I'm offended.
Zach!
She's offended for me. He shrugs.
You didn't even know what a discharger was.
You don't know what a gun is, or bullets.
At least if he's from another world, that explains why he didn't know these things.
Kara looks skeptical.
How did he get here?
There have been unexplainably high concentrations of energy popping up throughout Isaria, and he happened to show up at one of those areas. We went to the Mage Academy to get some answers, and that's how we came up with the possibility that the high energy readings were temporal rifts, and somehow he had traveled through one. Why or how those rifts were even opened, we still don't know.
But if they're the only way out for me to get back home, then I have to try to open one. Kara shrugs.
Let's just make sure you attempt to open one far away from where I'm standing.
That might be tricky considering no one knows how to open one. We may need to talk to Elder Isum.
That won't be necessary. I know how to do so already.
How do you know these things? We all stare at her. Oh, see, Isai even asked the same question.
The directions are located in Elder Isum's old research notes, which I had gathered from the Academy. The spell itself is a simple conjuration, which even an amateur could do.
An amateur can open a temporal rift? Then why isn't everyone doing it?
The impossibility of the spell comes from the fact that the human body cannot manipulate the amount of energy needed for it.
She pauses and points to me.
He may be an exception.
I'm exceptional. I scrub slightly as their gazes fall on me.
Given that you have absorbed energy directly from the temple, which should also be an impossibility, I must assume that there is something within you which can possess the high amount of magic without suffering consequences. Perhaps it is a skill which you acquired from your world.
My world doesn't have magic. Amelia blinks.
Regardless, only a short amount of time has passed. There is plenty of time for you to still internally combust.
You don't give me much confidence. A wave of unease makes my stomach queasy. Maybe I should open up this roof now before that has a chance to happen. Maybe grins with
I
excitement.
concur with that suggestion.
That may be the best now that you have the magic.
Zach shrugs and Carrot takes a look at our open surroundings.
Maybe we should first look for a spot with a bit more cover. We don't want to be opening up rifts on an open pathway.
Good point.
There was some tree cover towards the west.
We mumble our foundations and follow Zach towards the trees. We settle into the groove of trees, both Liara and Amelia stand on either side. Zach selects a tree far enough away to not be affected by our stray magic, but close enough to get a good view of what's going on. Kara, on the other hand, hangs back towards the outskirts of the trees. Zach looks back at her, an amused smile on his lips.
You'll miss the show from back there. You sure you don't want to come any closer?
Kara's voice is distant.
Yep.
There's a bit of movement as she takes another step back behind the tree. There's no way she can see anything from there. I could barely see her. I take a few steps closer to Kara.
Stop right there.
But you can't see anything from there.
On the contrary, I can see all I need from here.
She can at least see if other people will stumble upon us from there.
Oh, yeah, a lookout. That's exactly what I meant.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with her wanting to stay out of the splash zone.
That's probably not a splash zone is. Liana furrows her brow.
Temporal rifts don't splash.
No, but people do.
None of you give me confidence. I'm gonna blow up.
Zach!
He looks innocent.
What?
Leanna frowns. Amina studies the note, then goes to herself and snaps the function.
The casting is quite simple. It is the same technique as any other cast.
Leanna looks at me.
Are you ready?
I'm not. Amelia glances at my stance and frowns.
Your stance is incorrect. Straighten your spine.
I move my spine and stand as straight as I can.
Now you are too tense. Keep yourself relaxed, but do not slump.
Okay. I really saw the tension in my back. She's about to speak again, but Leanna gently pulls Amelia to the side.
Okay, I think he gets it.
She steps in front of me and gives me an encouraging
Your
smile.
stance is fine. Just remember to raise your arms in front of you.
Is it a swish and a flick? That's a one. I do as she says and she nods.
Now, the actual casting part is gonna sound tricky. You'll need to focus your mind on the spell you want to cast.
So I just need to think about temporal rifts?
Yes, but you need to connect that thought with the magical energy. Clear your mind of every thought.
I close my eyes and push away all my doubts and confusions and focus on Leanna's voice.
Now, think about the rift that you wish to create.
I want to go to Disneyland. I imagine tearing a hole in the fabric of reality. I don't actually know what a rift will look like or feel like. All I remember is the bright light. Should I focus on the light?
At the same time, sense for the magic within you.
I tried to sense for any kind of magic, but nothing feels out of the way. How do I know where the magic is?
It'll feel like a tendril or willing warmth. When you find it, reach out for it and grab hold. The magic is eager to be used and will latch on.
Let's give it a go. This is so abstract, but I know I can do it. I just have to focus. I turn within and regulate my breathing. It sounds very similar to meditation, so perhaps using the same technique will yield success. As my breathing becomes slow and steady, I open my senses for any indication of another presence.
Once you find the magic, connect your thoughts of the rift with the magic, and then channel both the magic and the thoughts through your hands to cast it in the open.
If I do this, I can become a wizard, and I will spam fireball. I continue sensing, hoping to find even a hint of warmth. But how do I know if it's just my own warmth or the magic? Sweat beads on my temples as I strain to cast. Nothing happens. Eventually my arms grow weary and my mind is exhausted. I decompress with a sigh. It didn't work.
It's okay, we can try again. People aren't usually able to cast on their first try.
I mentally groan. The idea of doing all that again does not thrill me. There must still be something I'm missing.
It just takes some getting used to. Plus, you're trying to cast without a manipulator.
Oh, yeah. Both you and Amelia use manipulators to cast. Maybe that's why I wasn't able to do it.
Well, the manipulator's function is to house the energy source for us to cast with. Technically, because you already have the energy within you, you shouldn't need a manipulator.
Oh.
But this is all theory anyway. It may be easier trying to cast using a crystal, especially for a first-time caster.
Regardless, there could be a multitude of factors for why this attempt was not successful. One for which could be as simple as the fact that you still did not possess enough energy to open the rift.
Shouldn't the temple have had enough?
Theoretically, perhaps, but a significant portion of the energy was already being used to sustain the elemental's image. She was able to transfer what was left of the energy to you, which from my readings was only 20% of the total energy in the temple when we started.
Suddenly, Kara's standing right behind us as cheerful as ever.
That sounds like you all still need to explore some more temples.
I jump at her presence. Even Leanna and Amelia seem surprised to see her so close. Only Zach is unaffected. How did you get here so fast? She grins at me.
Am I wrong?
The pango jumps out of Kara's arms and hops into mine.
Boy!
I pat him on the head, and he wriggles contentedly, licking the air around.
So it could be that he doesn't know how to cast, or that he doesn't have enough energy.
Or both.
Sure, but what does that mean for you all in terms of next steps? Are you going to hang out in Embermyst until he learns how to cast?
It could take him weeks before he can even cast the simplest of spells. That is quite a long time to rely on someone else's hospitality.
It sounds like it would still be in your best interest to visit at least one more temple just to be sure you have enough energy. You can teach him how to cast on the way, so by the time he gets there, he'll be ready to go.
Liana looks thoughtful.
That does seem like the better option than the alternative.
If it's the fastest way for me to get back home, I'm not opposed to having all our bases covered. Amelia nods.
That is the most efficient course of action. If we can mitigate any uncertain factors, then we can pinpoint where the weakness is and adjust accordingly for a successful cast. The research this will provide will be very informative.
Hearing Amelia's affirmation, Zack shrugs.
Since I'm here to protect Amelia, I go where she goes.
Yeah, I admit it, you like hanging with us. Kara smiles broadly and slings her arms around Zack and Amelia, much to their dismay.
Great. Then our arrangement is still on.
Hey!
Zack moves out of Kara's grasp. She smirks.
Most men would be thrilled to have a pretty woman hug them. Right, Amelia?
That is correct. A healthy physique is inherently attractive for potential mates.
Kara lets go and starts to lead the way out of the forest.
We should spend the night in Embermyst. We can plan our next steps there.
Once we are in agreement, we follow Kara back to Embermyst. Upon arriving, we head to the inn.
We can spend the night here. I'll meet you back down in the lobby in a few minutes.
She ventures upstairs while we secure 2 rooms with the innkeeper. As we receive our keys, Amelia excuses herself.
I wish to seek an audience with Elder Ism and continue our discussion. I would be remiss to let such an opportunity pass.
He seems like a good guy, but maybe keep the fact that I'm not from here a secret.
Yes, that is something in which we are in agreement.
Oh, okay. She nods and leaves the inn. The decor of the inn is very similar to Elder Ism's hut. Pillows and rugs line the ground as a few people sit cross-legged in front of the fire. A few tables line the other side of the lobby, all of which are empty. In fact, aside from a couple of people chatting by the fire, this place is very empty. Once I sit down, I feel a fatigue pass over me, but I try to shake it off. I guess they don't see too many visitors here.
For a city that's supposed to be so secret, that's not surprising. It's more surprising that they have an inn.
I nod and stifle a yawn. We sit at a table. Oh, damn, now I'm actually yawning a real. We sit at a table as Zack orders his dinner. After a few minutes, Kara returns.
Where's Amelia?
I want that. She went to speak with Elder Ism. She nods. My eyelids droop and I'm stifling yawns every few minutes. Hopefully it's not contagious. My limbs feel like leaded weights and it's taken all my effort to sit upright. After I let out a wide yawn, Liana glances over at me.
Maybe you should go to bed. We're winding down anyway, so it'd be a good idea to get some rest.
I nod blearily. That sounds really good right now. I guess absorbing all that energy really takes it out of you, huh? Liana smiles at my joke.
It would seem so.
So full of energy, I'm tired. Regardless, I'm grateful for the excuse to leave. I trot upstairs and fumble with the keys before opening the door. Then I fall onto one of the twin cots and pass out as soon as my head hits the pillow. And there we go, guys. Ooh, what adventure, eh? Found out some things like people are scared of forests, Zack is very shy with women, and Amelia just seems to know everything. I'm gonna call her Deus Ex Amelia. So, until the next time, guys. Catch you later. Bye!